In this video, we'll show you how to replace the inner tie rod on your Chevy Colorado. This is part of the steering system and located behind the wheel. Let's get started. And we can remove the lug nuts with a 22 millimeter. We can loosen the jam nut of the outer tie rod using a 21 millimeter. We can remove the nut on the tie rod with a 21 millimeter. I'm going to reinstall the nut back on, just a few turns. That'll help keep the threads from getting damaged. Now we're just going to strike on the knuckle right here to release the tie rod. Remove the nut. Now as we turn the outer tie rod off of the inner tie rod, you want to count the number of turns. That way when you install the new one, it goes in the same place. 1, 2, 3, and so on. 13 and a half. I'm going to use a set of locking pliers to hold the inner tie rod. And my 21 millimeter socket to remove the jam nut. Remove the hose clamp. We have a small tab on the inner clamp. I'm just going to use a flathead screwdriver. Get that into the tab. You can start to twist and pry out. They can hold on to the inner tie rod. Start to twist and pull on the boot. We can remove that. I've got our inner tie rod tool installed onto the inner tie rod. You can use a 3/8 ratchet on this. Go ahead and loosen that up. Once that's freed up, we can go ahead and remove the tie rod tool. We can thread the inner tie rod off the steering rack. Now it's a good time to inspect the end of the rack of your steering rack. You want to check out the threads in there as well as the outside of the shaft. Make sure it's not damaged. Make sure there's no dirt or debris in the threads. Ours looks pretty good here. We'll line up the inner tie rod. Start to get that threaded in. With the inner tie rod tool installed onto the inner tie rod, we can go ahead and snug this down. I'm going to apply some silicone paste to the inner portion of the tie rod where our boot is going to sit. You can start to get the boot on. We'll get the boot onto the steering rack. There are 2 cable ties supplied with the boot. I'm going to slip one into the end. And we can do the same at the other end of the boot. I'm going to use a set of side cutters. Before I clip it off, I'm going to give it a little twist. That way it'll tighten it down. Then we can clip those off. Before installing our outer tie rod, I'm going to apply some anti-seize. When installing the outer tie rod, we're going to count the number of turns just like we did when we removed the other one. There's 1, 2, 3, and so on. 13, we had about 13 and a half. We can then bring the jam nut down. Remove the nut from the tie rod. We'll get the tie rod up into the knuckle. And get our castle nut started on. We can snug that down. We can torque the castle nut to 26 foot-pounds. And get the cotter pin started in. And then I'm going to use my side cutters. We're going to take each ear of the pin and bend it around the nut. That'll keep the nut from spinning off. You can tighten down the jam nut. I'm going to wipe off some of the excess anti-seize. And get the wheel installed. I like to get the first lug nut in all the way, and that'll help hold the wheel while we do the rest. And we can snug these down in a star pattern. And we can torque these to 140 foot-pounds in a star pattern. Take the vehicle for a test drive down to your local service station and have them perform an alignment. Thanks for watching.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.